Hey folks, this is Kalani. We've got some interesting news this week. We have a release date for the next content patch 11.0.5, which includes WoW's 20th anniversary celebration event, so lots of new content coming our way soon. There are some sweeping changes to the Mythic Plus system, which should make dungeons easier to progress through and make them more rewarding, and a pesky delve reagent that has been inflating a lot of crafting prices has finally been changed. There's a lot to talk about, so let's break it all down in this week's WoW news video. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. First up this week, we have a release date for patch 11.0.5 and the 20th anniversary event. All of that new content will go live on October 22nd, so the PTR start date was in fact correct. That gives us just over a week until we can jump into all of the anniversary activities and earn a whole bunch of new rewards. The event will run until January 6th, so we have a very long time to work towards those gear sets, the new transmog options, mounts, pets, toys, all of it. So you can really take your time with this event. There's actually a lot of different types of content coming our way. The reimagined Blackrock Depths raid lets you take down some familiar bosses, and the bosses have actual raid item level gear drops too, so you can get up to item level 619 from the last boss on heroic mode. There are new scenarios, 6 world bosses, a new time walking event and vendor, Korak's Revenge is returning, and the various minigames let you show off your transmog collection or how many mounts you've managed to collect over these 20 years. The event also gives you a chance to get some very easy gear upgrades with the weekly caches, which will be perfect for gearing up any alts that you may have left behind, and the various stacking, experience and reputation gain bonuses will also make leveling super quick and farming reputation much easier as well. But I know one of the new rewards a lot of folks are looking forward to are the updated Tier 2 armor sets, and we have some clarification for how buying these sets is going to work. The first set that you buy will cost you 60 celebration tokens, the new currency that we'll be earning throughout the event. That is quite a good chunk of change. We won't be earning these tokens particularly quickly, so 60 could take 2 to 3 weeks to save up. But after you have bought one set, you will then earn a discount for your second set, so the second one that you buy will go down to 40 tokens, making it quite a bit faster to collect versus your first. And then after you buy a second one, you'll get another discount, which takes the price down to 20 tokens for every other set you might want to pick up. So the first one is 60, second one is 40, and then after that you go down to 20 each. That will make buying multiple sets much easier and faster, and if you want to pick up all of the updated Tier 2 armor sets during the event, you'll need about 320 celebration tokens. That seems like quite a lot, especially if it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to get that first 60 under your belt, but after you have earned 100 celebration tokens, you'll get an achievement that speeds up your earnings from that point onwards. We don't have any solid numbers until the event goes live, but basically your first 100 tokens will be the slowest, and it should be much easier to farm them after that point. But this update isn't just the 20th anniversary event, it's also patch 11.0.5. We have some huge class and hero talent reworks coming our way, big changes to how collecting transmog is going to work, Drakthea will be able to play different classes now, and there are improvements to the warband bank as well as the currency transfer system. So the event gives us a whole bunch of stuff to do, but there's a lot more coming in the patch in general. So new content is almost here. What are you most excited for in WoW's 20th anniversary event, and how do you feel about 11.0.5 releasing so soon? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, in other news, there have been some interesting changes to dungeon progression, how powerful certain affixes are going to be, and quite a few dungeons have been nerfed yet again. To start with, it's going to be quite a bit easier to get your hands on those highly coveted Gilded Crests. Gilded Crests have been a hot topic so far in the War Within, partly because they're the only crest that delve or solo content players can't reliably get their hands on, and partly because Mythic Plus players now have to complete much harder dungeons before they'll start to see Gilded Crests drop. They used to be rewarded from +6 keys or above, and so far in the War Within, they've been limited to +9 keys. So you have to almost max out your dungeon rewards before you start getting crests that let you upgrade your gear to its maximum potential. I guess Blizzard has decided that +9 keys are actually maybe a bit too high of a restriction, because Gilded Crests will now start to drop from +8 keys instead. Not quite as easy as the previously mentioned +6 keys in past expansions, but it's at least better than the +9 keys. This should allow you to start collecting Gilded Crests a bit earlier to let you upgrade your gear sooner, and then use those upgrades to push through +9 and +10 keys. I am very curious to see if we'll see further changes here. Will they eventually drop down to +7 keys if players are still struggling to progress? Only time will tell, but it's good to see that the dev team are keeping an eye on the situation and making changes when things aren't working out all too well. Now, in addition to getting Gilded Crests earlier, progressing through the Mythic Plus system should be easier in general thanks to several buffs to the Xal'atath affixes. Every Xal'atath bargain affix, so the ones you see at key level 2 that provide various bonuses for dealing with the affix, all of those buffs will now last for 30 seconds up from 20. All of these buffs are pretty powerful, so extending their duration by 50% is kinda crazy. This should make all dungeons easier as long as you are actually dealing with the affix properly, instead of, just ignoring it and seeing what happens. Now, for the folks at the higher end of Mythic Plus progress, the affix that comes in at key level 12, Xal'atath's Guile, has also been nerfed. This used to increase enemy health and damage by 20%, but that's been cut in half down to 10%. So lower keys will be easier thanks to the extended duration on Xal'atath's Bargain, and then higher keys will be easier thanks to the nerf to Guile. And then in addition to all of that, there are also some targeted nerfs for some of the more problematic dungeons right now. For the Necrotic Wake, the Gatekeeper's Wrath of Zul'Rahmus damage is being reduced by 25%, which should make surviving those big bursts quite a bit easier. Skeletal Monstrosities will provide quite a bit more forces contribution to make killing them more worthwhile. The Bloody Javelins will no longer stack, so keep that in mind for the next time you venture through this dungeon. And then Surgeon Stitchflesh saw some much needed nerfs, including a 20% health reduction, so the fight will be much shorter overall, and then Festering Rot damage was also reduced by 30%, so you might actually be able to survive this boss if you miss a hook or two. And then the other dungeon getting some nerfs is the Stone Vault. Skarmorak will see a 10% health reduction to make the fight a bit faster, the Fortified Shell Break will now stun the boss for 4 seconds, up from 2, and Crystalline Eruption damage has been reduced by 15%. So all in all, Skarmorak should be quite a bit easier to take down too. Void Speaker Aeric also got a 10% nerf to his health pool, and the cooldown of Entropic Reckoning has been increased. So you'll be able to get Gilded Crests earlier. The various Xal'atath affix buffs will make progressing through your Mythic Plus dungeons easier, and may just be the push you need to take on some higher key levels, and a couple of the most problematic dungeons are now quite a bit easier. All in all, it should be easier to get what you want from the Mythic Plus system moving forward. And then the last thing I want to talk about this week is that there have been some big changes to rare Delve reagent rewards that aim to tackle the crazy prices of one item in particular, the Profaned Tinderbox. This item has been a huge nuisance, and it's probably cost you a lot of gold even if you don't realize it. Anyone who has delved into professions this expansion will have come across this item, and perhaps you've looted one in your delve runs, popped by the auction house and thought, holy cow, why is this one thing worth over 10,000 gold? The answer is simple. They were quite rare, but they were also used in so many high-level profession recipes, especially the best in slot enchants. So if you were balking at the price of some of your enchants, this item is probably to blame. It was inflating crafting prices almost across the board, but thankfully these changes seem to have fixed things pretty much overnight. So first up, the Delver's Pouch of Reagents that you can buy from the Delve vendor has had its cost reduced down to 500 undercoins when it used to be 1500, so it's 1/3 the price now, and it also contains 3 random Delve reagents up from 2, so it's cheaper and you get more stuff. Great. But the larger change is that Profaned Tinderboxes can now just be straight up purchased from the blacksmithing supplies vendors. You'll need 3 of the other Delve reagents to trade in for a Tinderbox, so you can trade in 3 Ringing Deep Ingots, vials of Kaheti oils, Viridium Charm Caps, or Gloom Fathom Hides. So it's not just buying it straight for gold or a different currency, you do have to collect these other reagents, but most of these materials were significantly cheaper when compared to Tinderboxes, so this will even out the prices across the the board and keep tinderboxes at 3 times the price of everything else at a maximum. This also means it doesn't really matter what reagents you get from those bags or from your delving adventures moving forward, because you can now just trade anything you don't want in for tinderboxes eventually. All in all, this should make crafting goods much cheaper, especially those good enchants, so even if you don't do any crafting yourself, I bet you will see a significant change to some enchant prices, intermediate crafting goods prices, and if you ever do jump into professions, skilling up and completing crafting orders will be so much easier and cheaper now. All in all, a great change in my opinion. But that's all the news we have for this week, so that's it for this video. What are you most looking forward to in patch 11.0.5 and the celebration event? And how do you feel about Mythic Plus dungeons becoming easier and Gilded Crests being available earlier on in the system? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links in the description or click the join button just below the video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching, folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.